The key wouldn't turn in the lock. I tried again, jiggling it slightly, just like I had done thousands of times before, but something felt off. That's when I noticed it, the lock itself had changed. A gleaming brass fixture where my familiar old silver one should have been. It's no use trying, Emma. Those keys don't work anymore. Victoria's voice came through the window, dripping with satisfaction. My stepmother stood there with her arms crossed, wearing that smug smile I'd grown to hate over the last 5 years. My name is Emma Shen, and at 28 I was being locked out of my own home. The house my mother had left me when she passed away 10 years ago. The house I grew up in, where every corner held memories of her. What did you do? I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. What I should have done years ago, Victoria replied, adjusting her designer blouse. This house belongs to Marcus now. Your father made sure of that before he passed. Marcus, her 19-year-old son. Lazy, entitled, and living in my house for the past 3 years like it was his personal playground. That's impossible, I said, gripping my briefcase tighter. My mom left this house to me. It's in her will, Victoria laughed sharply. Oh, honey, your father changed all that. He amended the deed last month. Marcus is the legal owner now. She waved a document mockingly behind the glass. So pack up whatever's still in your room, if Marcus decides to keep any of it and find somewhere else to live. Rain began to fall, soaking into my clothes. But my mind went back to 2 months ago, my father in the hospital, weak from cancer, gripping my hand. Don't let them take it, Emma, he had whispered. I've made sure they can't. Victoria didn't know what he meant, but I did. Give me a minute, I said calmly, pulling out my phone. Her smile faltered as I made the call. Mr. Harrison, it's Emma. Could you come to the house? Victoria changed the locks. Yes, she's claiming Dad left everything to Marcus. Perfect. See you in 15 minutes. Victoria tried to recover. Calling a lawyer won't change anything. I ignored her and sat on the front steps, opening my laptop. Actually, why don't you call Marcus? I added. He should be here for this. And bring all those documents you're so proud of. We'll compare them with what Mr. Harrison brings. For the first time since my father's funeral, I felt calm. Dad had seen this coming. He hadn't relied on a will, he had created a trust. 15 minutes later, everything unraveled. Mr. Harrison arrived just as Marcus stumbled in, looking confused and hungover. Inside, Victoria had laid out her documents like trophies. Let's settle this, she said, forcing confidence. Mr. Harrison opened his briefcase. Yes, you have documents from last month, he said evenly, but I have documents from 6 months ago when Mr. Chen was of sound mind. Victoria's face paled. He laid them out one by one. The original deed left to Emma by her mother. The trust agreement placing the house in an irrevocable trust with Emma as sole beneficiary. And this, a letter from Robert Chen explaining everything. Victoria grabbed the letter, her hands trembling as she read. It detailed everything, her manipulation, her plans, her attempts to push me out. This is ridiculous, she snapped. Robert changed his mind. He couldn't, Mr. Harrison replied calmly. Once the trust was established, the house was no longer his to give away. Any later documents are legally invalid. Marcus finally looked up. Wait, I don't get the house, I stood. The only thing that's done, I said, is your control over this property. I held out my hand. The keys now. Victoria glared at me with pure hatred, but she had lost. Slowly, she threw the keys onto the table. An hour later, they were gone. The house was finally mine again, truly mine. No manipulation, no threats, no shadows, just silence and memories. I stood by the window, watching the rain fall softly. Somewhere I hoped my parents were watching too, knowing their daughter had finally protected what they had built. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's quiet. It's watching someone's plans fall apart exactly the way they deserve.